Hi everybody, Carmen here with Quality Sewing, and for this week's How Do I want to talk about some of the new notions that we featured at Roadshow in our stores. So first, if you didn't come to Roadshow or you haven't heard about it, we went store to all 10 of our different store locations and showed off some of the newest sewing machines and some of the newest notions, accessories, and tools. We do this a couple times a year, so if you missed our Roadshow, make sure you save the date for our September What's New parties, because we will do it again. We love to show new things. So what I've done for today's How Do I is I've taken my very favorite new things that we showed, because I thought you might also want to know a little bit more about them and see the new stuff. So I have quite a few different things here. They're mostly all from Quilter Select and Floriani, and they're all pretty cool. So I think we'll start with some new rulers. So there are two new rulers from Quilter Select. So this one here, it is the twin set of 60-degree rulers. So this is great for half-squared rectangles, trapezoids, all of those sorts of shapes. I think also, half diamonds, half trapezoids. You can do all sorts of different shapes with this. And what's great about this is it is a set. So you get a left and a right in the package. You probably can't really see that there. So you get a left and a right. And what's great is that, I don't know if you have ever done this, but sometimes when you're cutting a half square rectangle, right, you have both of those sides and you're flipping that ruler back and forth and you sort of lose track of how many lefts and how many rights. This is very simple because you have two of them. The way it works is if, let's say, you wanted you're going to make a 3-inch rectangle, right? So you're gonna cut a 3.5-inch strip, and then you will be able to make a 3-inch triangle shape to make your half square rectangle, okay? So it's very easy. You just would put your ruler here and then you would cut. And I have all of the beautiful rotary cutters right here. And so I just tap this down and you can see I've got this great little tool here to help hold. And then I could just cut here, and then all I'm gonna do is flip my ruler just like this, and then I would cut again, and I would just keep going, and I can make all of the different lefts and all of the different rights I need to make these perfect half square rectangles, triangles, trapezoids, so many different shapes. You can sort of see from this that you can make a ton. I don't know if you probably can't quite zoom in there, but you can see that you can make a ton of different shapes with this. So let's talk a little bit about why I love the Quilter Select rulers, because I just went right into what this ruler does, but these are my favorite rulers. So all of the Quilter Select products are designed by Alex Anderson. And Alex is a quilter herself, which is amazing. So she has created all of these cool products that she always wished she had. So the first thing, all of their rulers are anti-slip. So that means when I'm sitting here and if I'm going to use it and cut, right, it doesn't slip or slide, which is awesome because who wants a ruler that's slipping and sliding? And then the new thing that she has added to her rulers that I love is there is a QR code, which you can't see, but how many times have you had a ruler that you used for a project because you bought it for the project, right? And then you're like, wait, how does this work? What do I do with it? This is super cool because you use this QR code and you can go right to a landing page for this ruler, and there is a full video where someone from Quilter Select takes you through like an 8 or 10 minute video on all the different ways you can use the ruler. Super handy, awesome. So the other thing that I love about the Quilter Select rulers, and here I just have a standard one, is that all of the markings line up. So if I was to use this Quilter Select ruler here on this mat, all of my markings totally 100% line up. So that way everything is more precise. And then this handy how to handle little ruler guy allows me to not have to push as much. So that's sort of the story about why their rulers are amazing. And so let's talk for a minute about their rotary cutters, because their rotary cutters are also amazing. They now have 3 sizes of their rotary cutters. They previously only had 2 sizes. So they initially came out with the 45mm rotary cutter, and then they came out with the 60, and a 45 is that standard one that most of us have. The 60 is bigger, and what's great about a 60mm rotary cutter is it allows you to cut through more layers of fabric more successfully. So This guy, the new one, is the 28. And what I love about the 28 is it is so great for cutting curves, for cutting out patterns. If you have ever had a moment where you just sort of felt like your 45 millimeter rotary cutter was just a little clunky, your 28 is probably going to resolve that issue. So the other cool thing about their rotary cutters is how they work. The first time people touch them, they're like, wow, this is sort of heavy. And the reason for that is now the rotary cutter is doing more of the work for you. So in order to use it, there's a little button here, and I just push the button and tap out the blade, and then I'm just gonna hold this down, and voila, and easy. I didn't have to push very hard, and I can just tap and lock my blade. The other cool thing about this rotary cutter is it is left or right-handed. So no matter who's using it, they're gonna be super successful and very safe, which is the thing we're always looking for with rotary cutters, because I hope you have never accidentally cut yourself, but these things you can really hurt yourself. So you really wanna make sure that you're always keeping that blade shut, and when it's sitting on your table, you can't accidentally nick your hand against it. And that's why I do love that it's just a tap, and once you get used to it, it works great, and then you don't have to push as hard, which is lovely. Okay, so the other new ruler that they have here is a diamond ruler. So this guy is a 60-degree diamond. So this 60-degree ruler here, you can make all sorts of different diamond shapes. And what's cool about this is the sizes of the ruler. You can make anything from like a 1-inch little diamond all the way up to something that's much larger, right? Like even up to 12 inches or 6 inches. There's a ton of different sizes here, which is pretty cool depending on what size block you're trying to make. So, and what size shape, you know, because this guy can do half triangles, it can do all the different diamonds, and there's a third shape it can make, so it's pretty cool. But you can see here how it has the shape here for the 60-degree diamond, and this is cut in a similar way where you're going to cut a strip of the diamond size that you're looking for. So if you want a 4-inch diamond, you're going to cut a 4-inch strip, and then you're going to do the one angle and then the other to make the diamond shape. Now, the other thing that is really cool about these rulers, and this is the same for that first set I showed you, is that she has created the flat spot here so you can cut off your dog ears. And you know what that means, hopefully. So like a lot of times when we're sewing and we have those 1/4 inches, we end up with these two little tails out the end. And when we press them, which is great, but then when we're trying to match points, it's more fabric than we need to have there. So when you're trying to match points, you want less fabric. So this ruler has actually been designed so you can just trim off all of those dog ears so you can be more successful at matching your points, which is awesome. And then this also has the QR code, my favorite part, because then if you don't quite know what you are going to do, how to use this ruler, how to set it up, what size strip to make, you can go right to that video and it will show you. So super easy, very easy to use. Love that she has new rulers. She's been coming out with all sorts of different rulers for quilting, for all the different shapes and sizes you might want to make. So that is pretty fun, and these are just her two latest ones. So then that other thing, like I talked about, is that new 28 millimeter rotary cutter, which is awesome. And then the other thing is this board that we have here, okay? So this, on this side, is this lovely cutting mat, right? We've been cutting on it. It works beautifully. It's 14 inches by 14 inches. It's a beautiful blue color. But then when you flip it over, it is a wool pressing mat. Just like that. We could just press something quick. And I love having next to me when I'm sewing an easy space where I can turn and cut, or, right, so I can flip this over, turn and cut, or turn and press. Now, when I was out at Roadshow, the #1 question I had on this is, well, what about warping? So it's great. It gives you a little sticker right here on the packaging that says, hey, when you iron, wait and let it cool before you flip it over. So what I would recommend is when you're using it, of course, you're going to press. And if you want to turn and cut, but just make sure you always leave it like this with the pad up, and you're going to be fine, because then everything, if there's any condensation from the steam, it can evaporate, and it will make it so it does not warp and it's staying on the flat side. But wool is absolutely my favorite surface for pressing, okay? And the reason for that is, like, for example, let's say I have an embroidery design like this and I want to iron it, okay? The best way to iron embroidery is actually for me to iron this upside down, right? Where I iron it here, And then because the wool has a little bit of give, I am not like ironing my project deeper into the nap of my towel. It just does a beautiful job. It's also great for really any type of ironing. It just really does a beautiful job. It's a lovely surface. And this is the first time I have seen one of these boards that is the board and the wool on the other side. I've seen a lot of these combination mats where it has a different surface, like maybe cotton or something on this side. So I love that this has wool, and because I just think it's so useful. So, and I mean the blue color, how great. So this is new and very fun. Okay, so the next thing I have, and I'm going to want my towel again, so I'm going to set it up here. The next thing I have is the new Aqua Touch markers, okay? So these, they come in a set of 3. And everybody, when they first see it, they're like, what are these? Why would I want them? Well, these are, you buy an empty set of markers, and these are just sort of a great tool because they're designed to put water or to put starch like Best Press in them, okay? So what's great about this, they have 3 different tips. One is a brush, and this actually has a little mechanism here for like squeezing more water in. So if you want to have more flow of liquid, it has a little push button so you can add more, but there's a nice little brush here. This guy is an 8mm felt tip, and this guy is a 3mm felt tip. So the reason why these are great is there's a couple different uses. So water, let's just talk about the brush. I feel like this is the one that I'm like, oh, so many uses. So let's say you have embroidered a towel and you have that tear away topper on top, right? You've torn it away, but there's still a couple of pieces. And maybe you're getting ready to like gift this towel to someone. Well, you could just put water in your brush and just brush a little bit. Just brush that water soluble stabilizer just a little bit, and it would dissolve into the project. You could give your gift, and then of course the rest of it would wash out when you washed it, but you wouldn't need to wash it. So I think any time where I'm working with a water soluble stabilizer and I've torn most of it away, but I want to just like clean up a little bit of it, the brush would be great for that. So that is one use. These would also be handy with like paper piecing. Another use would be, let's say you're using water-soluble lines like pens or pencils or something, and you want to erase those marking lines. You could just put the water in this and erase them. For starch, you could put starch in here, and then anytime maybe you're doing a hem or something, so you could just do a line on your fabric and then roll, right, and press it right along that starch line and get a really crisp hem without starching everything. So I'm sure you can think of like lots of other sort of cool things to do with these, but they're really fun. This would be my tip though. If you put starch in them, mark it. Make sure you know what you are putting in it so that when you get back to them, you know if it has water or starch. So that would be my one tip, but this is a nice little set of 3 and they're super affordable. A great little thing to have in your tools. And then let's see, I have 2 more fun things here that are new. So the next one are these new seam press tools. So there are 3 different colors. Let me get them in the camera so you can actually see them. One is the quartz, one is the soda light, and one is the turquoise. So the soda light's the dark blue one, and the turquoise is the turquoise one. And these, so they do have gemstones in them, which is fun. But what they are is they are a pressing tool. So it's sort of like if you've ever had one of those wooden little pressing tools. This is the same thing. So it's designed to be like for finger pressing. So you can just sort of turn and do a quick little pressing, or maybe you just want to press out your seam here. This also has almost like a chubby stiletto on the other end. So if you wanted to push something open or poke something while you're sewing, you could do that. I just like it because it has a nice weight. It does a really good job. You, of course, are not going to press your whole project this way because that would be very tedious, but it's great when you are piecing or something and you want to press just a little bit and your iron's not handy or not on, or if you have one of those irons that automatically shut themselves off, it's shut off. This would be a great little tool to use. And they come in all the fun colors, and I always love having fun colors of things. Okay, so last but not least is the new tool set here by Floriani. So it's a beautiful new tool set, and it comes in all sorts of different, there's all sorts of different tools in here, and it comes in this lovely case. So you can see here, they are a beautiful iridescent blue, which I love. And these are like their top selling They're top selling tools. So this is different. If you've seen a tool set from them before, this is different. So the first thing we have here is these are the lovely little squeeze and snips. And they have a little curve, really handy. This is the mini duckbill. And I bet you that this is one of their best selling scissors because this is an amazing tool for if, let's say, you are doing applique and you're trying to cut around the applique. The reason why you have that chubby duckbill is so you don't actually cut too much. And I love a duckbill scissor, and this is a mini one, so it gives you a little more precision in small spaces, which is great. And then this guy, I'm gonna have to pull him out to see if you can see it up here. Do you see that point? This is a precision. It has a very, sorry, I'm using my left hand, everybody, so it's hard. It's a very sharp little point. And so this is really great for fussy cutting around things. You can see how much pointier, really, that is in a normal scissor, so really handy for some different things. And then right here, this is a double curve snip, and I'll pull this one out too just to sort of show. So what the double curve means is that now if you're going to use this with your embroidery hoop, you have that curve that can go over the embroidery hoop and you can still get into the actual hoop no problem and snip. So there's a curve both on the handle and on the actual blade, and then of course a pair of tweezers because sometimes you just need a pair of tweezers. So when we were selling these during Roadshow, I had numerous customers be like, oh man, this is perfect. Now I will have a set of scissors that are perfect, a nice combination of different ones that I can take to class. Because then you have this whole set, you keep them together in your class bag, they're ready to go, and then also they don't poke you in your bag or anything, and you sort of have one of each of the tools you might need depending on what you end up doing in your class. So I thought that was a great, a great use for these, and these are on sale right now, and they really are just very pretty, which, I always love pretty things. So those are the new things that we have right now from Quilter Select and Floriani. We have lots of other new things that have been coming into the stores, which is fun, and we're posting new things on our website as often as we can. Every week we are here on Tuesdays doing lots of different how-to-whys on lots of different topics. If you are new here, please check out our playlist because we have lots of different how-to-whys and all different things that you can check out. So thanks so much for joining me and look forward to seeing you next time.